Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant, and today we are talking fitness. Our guest today is Rob Howze. He's the founder and CEO of Camp Fit. I am so glad to have you here today because, of course, the Sisters for Fitness show is about fitness, not just for women, but for entire families. Right. And your organization focuses on fitness for kids.
Yes, yes. We say that one of my favorite songs is "The Children Is Our Future." You know, Whitney Houston, love it. You know, because it's the truth. Eventually, they will grow up to be the adults and be our lawyers, our doctors, our presidents, and everyone else.
Indeed. Well, let's start from the beginning. How was this program birthed? How did you become interested, or what made you feel the need to focus on child fitness?
Well, I've always been into fitness, you know, sports my whole life and being active. And so I've had a passion and appreciation for it. But as I began to get a little older, I realized that the people that I grew up with that used to be fit, used to be the fastest in the neighborhood and athletic, they were no longer. Most of them were overweight or sick and just living unhealthy. It was amazing to see how at one point in time they were so passionate about it, and then very shortly thereafter they didn't care, and it really affected their lifestyle. And so I realized that by starting a program where we could not only incentivize young people, but give them, to educate them, heighten their awareness, that not only would they be fit, but they would love it. They'd be inspired by it, right? And so that's what led my wife and I to start a worldwide community. We said, you know, we want a program where kids can come to after school and we can empower them mentally, physically, and spiritually. So
Camp Fit is part of a larger program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the other program.
So we started Worldwide Community as a nonprofit. That was our first program. This will be our 10th year coming up. And we started that program with the same mindset, have a after-school program for kids to come to get mentoring, academic assistance, spiritual empowerment, and physical activity. Sports, we have track and field, flag football, basketball. But at the same time, we realized that we want to have a really strong focus on the physical component. You know, we call it holistic health, mentally, physically, spiritually. So we birthed the Camp Fit program, and that became a summer camp. And 8 weeks, we just concentrate. We bring trainers in, nutritionists, chefs, mentors. We take them on field trips and all this to just empower and heighten their awareness in certain areas, and with the hopes of that they get excited about it and that they continue it, you know, thereafter.
What age group are you dealing with?
Middle school and high school.
Which is the group that absolutely needs it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what type of things do you begin? Let's just say you have a child who's never been physically active, the parents have never been physically active. How do you get that child motivated when it comes to fitness? Is it just watching the other kids, or how do you motivate that child?
Yeah. That's, you know, everyone's different. And so what we do is, the first thing I do with the families is I sit down and have an interview, you know, to talk with the parents and the child to find out where their mindset is. And then from that first consultation, I find out where the trigger points are, what excites them. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's video games, whatever it may be. And so through that conversation, just kind of find out what they enjoy, right? And so that kind of breaks the ice, because I don't care if you have if I had a briefcase of $1 million and I told you there's $1 million in that briefcase, but I don't give you a reason to even want to open it, you're probably not going to open it. And so what we do is we connect with the children, connect with the families, find out what moves them, what excites them, and then we tie the program in and we expose them to those kind of things as well. So we have video game competition, we have sports. So now they're excited, now they're open, now they're able to receive the information we're giving them. So we don't change the information from the importance of nutrition and dieting and exercise. We just serve it to them from a more open perspective.
So when you sit down with these families, and after interviewing, I'm sure, dozens of people, what do you see is the major concern of these families when it comes to health and nutrition?
Just the lack of interest. The lack of interest on behalf of the child. Just not interested at all. And the other concern is the health. We know this. We know the statistics.
Yes, and I mention this over and over again, as many shows as I can, the fact that obesity is just at epidemic levels in the African American community, which of course puts you at more risk for diabetes, heart disease, several types of cancers.
Yep.
So it's really important to get these kids motivated. And especially we've been seeing a real increase in the amount of childhood diabetes in numbers that we never saw before. And that probably has to do a lot with it being such a technological society. So you can spend hours at a time, not outside playing, but on your, indeed.
Phone, got you locked in right here. That's the only thing I like about Pokemon Go is that you get to go somewhere, you know?
I told my daughter that I think her phone has become an appendage. It's part of her hand. Because they can't let it go.
And I know even us as adults, we're connected to our phones. You know, technology, like you said, I should turn this off right now. So, you know, I know that we're connected to our phones, and it's
well, how do you get them to see, if that's the major concern, that lack of interest, how do you get them to see the importance of being active?
You know, really this just through exposing them, you know, exposing them through different avenues. We go hiking, we play sports, we have different people come in and share their testimonies. Sometimes it's a testimony, because a testimony is birthed from somebody surpassing a test. So a lot of the kids who struggle with weight issues, they're insecure and they're dealing with the same things that somebody else who already accomplished the milestone has dealt with. So when they come back and they lost 100 pounds or 120 pounds and they come back and share with the kids on the platform, that sparks something in them to say, so it is possible. And just by them seeing that it's possible because it's been done, incentivizes them a little bit more. And all those little components add up.
And making it a lifestyle thing, not just losing 100 pounds or losing 20 pounds, but changing your lifestyle so that it is a healthier lifestyle.
Yep, that's it. And you do that, again, it's not just, they say it takes a village.
Yes.
You know, and I really believe that. And so we have wonderful trainers and coaches and mentors and supporters. We even had you know, County Councilman Todd Turner, he comes out and he shares with the kids, and Delegate Dale Barnes comes out. We took the kids over to the jail to go see what's happening inside the jail, and then we took them to the county executive's office so they could see both sides of the spectrum. And this is where, you know, when you make decisions and choices, this is what could happen, but there's another side to it as well. And so again, expose them to the good side, the reality side, pros and cons, but then at the same time, giving them and showing them options on not just what you can do, but how you can do it.
What type of physical regimen does the camp advocate? What types of things? You walk in the morning, then what happens?
Yep. So in the morning, as soon as they come there, they take about 10 laps around the parking lot. You can walk, jog, and they're able to have their iPods and just 10 laps around. It accumulates to about a mile. That's just their time to reflect and think about, just get their minds clear, but get some kind of movement. And then we sit down, we do our goals for the day. You know, what is our goals for the day and our goals for the week.
That's wonderful. So you make them set goals.
Make them set goals and write them down. And then every week we find out how close we are to those goals and what we need to do, because everything needs an action plan. You know, you got a goal, now what is the action plan?
How important do you think goal setting is?
You have air, and then you have goals. That's what I believe. I honestly believe that, because everyone has a dream. Everybody wants to be something, but most people don't realize that you have to write it down in order to obtain it. People think that, you know, I can want something and will it to me, and sometimes that works. Sometimes, but for the most part, for us humans, we have to write down and then put a plan in action how to actually obtain it. You know?
And I can imagine how that helps with the school year.
Oh, yeah.
If they're learning in this camp how to set goals, I could imagine just taking that same thing and bringing it into the school year. What a difference that probably makes with with their grades.
Man, I'm looking for an app to test those quantifiable results. I want to test that because I know, because I've gotten calls and emails from parents that say, "Wow, man, we're doing so much better this year," or so and so has reference what they learned at camp and they're applying it in school this year. You know, it's amazing. And again, that's why we do what we do, not just to increase the weight loss, but to empower their minds. Because once you get this together, everything kind of falls in place.
Indeed it does.
You know?
Indeed it does. So after they've done their goal setting, let's talk about what happens after that as far as what types of physical activities are they involved in?
We do a variety, from strength training to calisthenics, plyometrics, run hills. We'll go through the track. We have a mile run that we do at the beginning of the year, of the summer. They run a mile, and then at the end of the summer, they run a mile again. We time it both times, and 97% of the time, they dwarf their first time they ran the mile. I mean, they just blow it away.
Because of course they've increased their endurance, strength, all that kind of stuff.
And this too.
Exactly.
Was it Roger Bannister? I think it was 1953. Before that time, nobody had ran a 4-minute mile, ever. They just thought it was impossible. Then all of a sudden, in 1953, Roger Bannister, he breaks the 4-minute mile. Well, shortly after that, like thousands and thousands, even high school kids, were breaking the 4-minute mile. And all it was a mental barrier. It wasn't the fact that we couldn't, we just didn't know it was possible.
Yes.
So once we realized it was possible, oh, that's easy. So once they realized it's possible, now they can just do all kind of things. Like the sky's not the limit, That's just the sky.
And so, so they participate in one thing during the day, or they participate in several different physical activity programs during the day.
Yeah. So we'll probably do physical activity at least twice in the morning and then in the afternoon. Whether it's going to a gym, a Level Up gym here in Bowie, Maryland, we partner with. We go to them. Boxing and fitness, we go there. We went to a couple CrossFit gyms, take them to the park, or we have different trainers come out and do different things with them. It's really a variety of. We even have a Zumba, we do Zumba. I know you know about that.
Yes.
And so, as a matter of fact, our health coach Rosalind Law, she is our health coach, and she's a Zumba instructor. And twice a week, she cooks. She comes out, she cooks, gives recipes for the kids to take home. They have to make the recipes with their families as part of our curriculum.
Because I'm telling you, the two go hand in hand. The whole fitness and nutrition thing.
Yeah.
Because you can do your miles, you can do the physical activity, but if you go home and eat a triple bacon cheeseburger,
It's out the window.
It is all out the window.
Yeah.
So what are you teaching them about nutrition? Because there are such things as green things that you have to eat as well as those other things.
Yeah. And so, our health coach, like Rosalind Law, she does an amazing job with that. She not only does she educate them on, the importance of, what has more nutrition, nutritional value, but she makes things and we get to smell it and they get to eat it and they realize, oh, it's good. Healthy things are actually good.
Yes.
I don't have to just eat leaves off trees and grass. I'm not a cow. Wow. Unbelievable. So it's like an amazing breakthrough for them to realize that things are actually edible.
Yes.
And they're good.
Putting some variety in your diet.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, especially, I know I'm a mother, and sometimes you get home from work or you get home from a busy day, you don't feel like cooking, so the quickest thing to do is to get some nuggets and fries. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And there, so kids get used to this diet that doesn't have a whole lot of variety.
Right.
So to expose them, it's wonderful to expose them to some things that are good for you and taste good other than those basic staples that we get used to.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in the day and age where the minivan is a dinner table.
Yes.
People we're on the move. We're on the move. We're a busy society. And that's why fast food industry is blown up.
And that's interesting that you say that you have the kids bring those recipes home to the family, because of course it's the mom that does the shopping. So if we can encourage the moms to invest in healthier foods, you'll see a healthier child as well.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why we turned it into a TV show. So we turned it into a TV show. It's on DirecTV now, all across, wherever DirecTV is at, and on Roku. And we turned it into a TV show because we realized that the parents that were in our program were having breakthroughs. A parent actually called me and said, I got a bone to pick with you. I was like, what? She said, I got a bone to pick with you. My daughter now, when we go to the grocery store, we spend an extra half hour in that store now because she wants to pick the right stuff.
Wonderful. That's good news.
And she said, you know what? I got a bone to pick with you, but I'm happy because actually she's encouraged our whole household. I had to keep myself together because I'm, you know, sometimes I get emotional about this stuff. She said our entire household has changed. So one child transferring her whole household. Now she's a vegan. I checked in with her recently. She's a vegan. Her family, they've lost significant weight, all of them, everybody, the mom and dad and the child.
Very good.
And they changed their direction of how they approach life, you know, when it comes to eating, the importance of it.
And it's so much easier when it's a family thing, when everybody's invested in this, not just one child, oh, he's a picky eater, so we got, but when the whole family says, hey, let's do this together, you can just make wonderful strides like you're talking about with this particular family.
It's a powerful thing. I mean, a house divided against itself can't stand, but when it comes together, it can do anything.
Now, how many kids do you usually have in your camp?
In between I'd say 15 and 25.
And it's a day camp type of situation. And it lasts for 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
Which is a good long time.
Yeah, it's a good long time. Good long time. And we're actually striving for maybe 2017, but definitely 18, make it overnight, because we'll get even more progress. Because anytime you can have, you know, a concentrated effort where people aren't going home, because when they go home, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same, there's pros and cons to that, because when they go home, they have to deal with real life, which is real, and so we know they have to deal with real life, so that is a good component. But if we could have them for the entire duration of time, we could then build some consistency in them and then send them out.
What type of team building stuff do you guys do?
So,
helping people, helping them get along with each other, how to build some leadership skills.
Yeah, we have we do some exercises. At the same time, we have, you know, we do these games where they have to work together in order to win points, things of that nature. We have this game where they put together a company together, and they pick the roles of who does what, and then they present their company to us, you know, as a board, as sharks almost. But each person has a role in that company, and so of course through that process, you know, whenever you're going to business with somebody, got to be some real team building going on.
Yes.
You know, and so that again exposes them to the entrepreneur side. That's another component, just the entrepreneurialism. Is that a word? Entrepreneurialism? I think I just made that up. I think so.
And you know what? So. Next thing we'll know, it'll be in Webster's.
Yeah. Who said Webster's the only one who can do this stuff? I tell my wife that all the time. Webster's not the only one who can do words.
Well, so. Rob, tell us what your background is. What brought you into all this?
Well, I grew up in Buffalo, in New York, and again, always in fitness, but I've always been fascinated with just people, just different kinds of people. You know, I grew up in the hood and the suburbs at the same time. In Buffalo, you have literally a stretch of about 1.5 miles between hood and suburbs. My dad lived in the hood. My grandma lived in the suburbs. So I lived in both places. So I got this experience different people. You can imagine.
Yes.
Right? From the early 80s, you know, African Americans, it was tough a little bit, you know? And then, of course, you got, you know, the hood, and not the hood like we're getting shot every day, but there's drugs on the corner and there's violence, you know. It's definitely the hood. But through that time frame, I got to meet a lot of different people, and just understanding how these people didn't like these people, and it was all a mindset thing. Everyone was trapped in their own mindset. So I've always been so fascinated with the mind. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to develop a program where I can empower young people's minds so that they don't put themselves in these little silos, and they get into this tunnel way of thinking. And at the same time, we'll encourage their holistic health, so your mind, body, spirit, so physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I became a youth pastor, I became a pastor, I became a trainer, and like I said, I studied psychology for 15, 20 years now, and put all those together, and then bring in people who are smarter than me in all those areas. I said, we can do some amazing things with these kids and their families, because you impact a child, you impact their family.
Now, you mentioned that not only are we talking about this 8-week Camp Fit, there's also a media arm of this. So tell us about that. So what is that, the program, the TV
show?
Yeah.
So one day I was I was laying in the bed. I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was looking at a network called NR Beat Network. It was on DirecTV, and this lady was working out, and I was thinking to myself, we should have our show on this program. I went to the website, emailed the senior program director. She called me back the next day. Now, this doesn't normally happen, but I believe in intervention. I believe that God is divine, and whatever He says, He opened doors no man can close, and closed doors no man can open. So I'm like, okay.
Sometimes it happens faster than we could ever dream possible.
And like the next day. So she called me. She's like, I love this I love the show. I love we want you on the program. I was all right, great. I almost didn't even know how to respond. I just said, awesome, great. Those are the words I chose. And long story short, from that point on, we put the program is turned into a TV show. So we film it throughout the day. And we film the kids going through their ups, through their downs, their experiences, their breakthroughs. Off-site, we go to their homes and take them to the grocery store. We film the whole thing, edit it, and put it into one capsule of a show. Boop. And so that's put on DirecTV and for folks to see it. And again, the whole purpose of that was to inspire people all over the world who watch it that there are other ways, there are other options, and people are doing it, and it's working.
And so what's the success rate then?
On the weight loss side, I would say about 70%. 70% lose weight. As far as the growth rate, I'd say 97. When I say growth, I mean like, you got a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. We focus on the growth mindset aspect. So when they hit a wall, they grow from it. So every challenge just presents an opportunity. And so that means all the kids who came in one way, they leave a different way. So we have them do these surveys when they come in, just what they think about life and just how they answer the questions. And we give them that same survey when they leave to see what kind of growth has happened. And they all grow. I mean, when I say grow, I mean just have a better perspective. It starts with that, just a better perspective and more optimistic about life. And so that's the goal. That really is the main goal of the camp, for them to gain a better perspective on life, because then your perspective determines your.
Now, how long has the camp been going on?
This is our
because you said worldwide has been 10 years.
Yeah.
So this has been 6 years.
6 years. Yeah.
Do you see a difference in the children that you were dealing with when you began 6 years ago and the kids now? Or things are pretty much the same?
They're pretty much the same. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. Technology has increased. We have a lot more kids we got to take phones from. But, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it, though.
But the mindset as well?
The mindset is pretty much the same. And really the mindset depends on, their environment that they came from. That really determines it. If you're at a home where, you're constantly beat up, for whatever reason, they're going to come into the camp with a beat up mindset, as opposed to somebody who's in a household where they're just getting constantly encouraged. That's why that first consultation is so important for me, to get to sit down with the parent and the child, and I can see them, and I see how they interact just from the jump, and I can tell from there, okay, which one of my trainers I need to have more involved in this process, because they all have their own strong sets,
So you have several different trainers involved with this. If we've got some folks watching at home, and they're looking for some advice on how to get their kids started.
Yeah.
What would your best advice be for how to get started?
Well, this may not be one. This may not be what people want to hear, but you would have to get started with them. It's the most encouraging thing is for a family that gets together and does it together. So if you want to change the diet, you're going to have to change what you're eating. You're going to have to change what you're buying. If you want them to get exercise, then you're going to have to exercise with them. Maybe after work, walk as a family, do something as a family, together. And a lot of folks, a lot of parents, they don't have time. I know time is going extinct right now, it seems like.
So make the time.
Make the time. Because by you doing that, by you sacrificing that, the reward is so big on the end. And that'll be serve as an encouragement. I would also say, find out. Not everybody likes sports, but a lot of kids do. Find out what they like, and sometimes you got to make them do it.
Yes. And then once they start doing it, because I've seen this with my own kids, once they get the hang of it, once they start doing it, they start asking you, can we go to such and such? Can we do, or can I join this team? But they've got to get started with it.
Yeah, that's it.
And you don't want to beat them to death with it or beat it over there. But sometimes if we as parents take the initiative to get them started in it, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, I'm a firm believer in that. That the kids gotta be moving somehow, and there's a variety of ways that they can do it. I mean, even karate, which adds discipline, but something that gets them from just sitting here doing this. Because we are in the information age.
Yes.
But the information we need to know is that our kids are expected to live shorter lifespans than us.
Now, I'm a little fanatical about the whole physical fitness thing, so I started two of my boys in wrestling when one was 6 and the other was 8. And one is now in college and the other one is in high school. But I didn't know whether they would like wrestling. I didn't know, but they were going to do something.
Yeah.
And I had seen my brothers wrestle all of my life. I had 2 brothers who wrestled. So that's all I knew to get them in initially, and I did, and they both flourished.
Yeah.
And one of my sons is a big guy. So he plays football as well as the wrestling. But I've made sure that all of my kids, including my daughter, because when I was young, there wasn't an emphasis on women or girls doing sports. My mom and pops, they didn't mind my brothers doing it, but they didn't think it was useful for girls to do sports. So I even make sure my daughter's on the step team. So I make sure every able body is doing something.
Yeah. Some kind of something.
In my house. And then we do the karate thing as well.
Yeah.
And what you said, the discipline, you can't beat it with the discipline they learn with the whole karate thing.
Right.
So do you have children yourself?
Yes. Yeah, we got 13, 11, and 4. And they're all involved. My girl, my son's the oldest, and I got 2 girls. My son's football and soccer, and of course we have our programs, our flag football and our track and field, and our summer camps, movement. So all of our programs have movement in them, But my middle daughter, she's dancing. The little one, she just runs all over the place right now. She's everywhere.
I'm sure at some point you're going to turn that into something.
I'm praying about it. I'm trying to think of what we're going to put her in, because she can dribble a basketball. She flips off of stuff. So I think we're going to put her in soccer because that's the most running. I think so. And so I think that's what we're going to do. But again, we're just encouraged to get them doing something, and children actually want to.
Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
I had a joy.
And as I said, we will be giving the information about Camp Fit during the credits. I want to thank you once more for joining us. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. Have a great day.